Going on here again for another showdown show. Hoops, earphones, or whatever.
I'm back in business, man. I'm back. I'll take the reins. Yeah, we're here for the Thursday night game. We have the Titans and the Colts. And man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one to go through. We got the Masters going on right now. But we'll do our best to go through and break down this game. I mean, the Colts are just a tough team from a fantasy perspective. They got their backup running back scoring multiple touchdown, dusty ass T.Y. Hilton out there. Colts are a tough team. Titans, you kind of know what you're going to get. But before we get into that, I'm sure you've been watching the Masters today. Any takeaways from the Masters so far?
Not really. I mean, a lot of the good plays that we thought were good plays are kind of just rolling along. I never put too much into Thursday anyways. I was making fun of some of the people on there. We always have the people in chat and the people on Twitter that they just full panic when guys struggle early, like it's going to be over like 4 holes in. And I mean, most of the good guys are up top, just like we thought. I mean, it seems pretty standard. It's fun to watch too. Like those featured groups having Tiger and Bryson and Rahm and these guys to where you could watch every shot is awesome. The app, I mean, the Masters app is just incredible compared to the normal PGA app. So it's been a fun sweat. I'm looking forward to the weekend.
How the hell does the PGA Tour not have? I mean, they're out there every single week with events, and their app might be like one of the worst things in the entire Apple App Store. It's like incredible that they have.
I don't get it. You got your whole sound jacking up again with your headphones. But yeah, I mean the app from the PGA, you're lucky to get like a normal shot tracker. With the Masters app, you can basically watch every shot you want. You can flip to holes. You have just everything on the Masters app. The live scoring is always super up to date. It's just a good app, and I know they have a ton of money involved with it, and it's only once a year, so maybe they can kind of get things rolling with it a little easier, but it doesn't make sense at all to me that the PGA can't get it going. But to circle back to football tonight, we got 2 teams that I think are pretty tough to decipher. I mean, you got the Colts, who are one of the toughest fantasy teams to kind of navigate through. Because like Hoop said, you got just a ton of guys, and none of them you're going to feel good about. None of the receivers, none of the running backs, none of the tight ends. If you do somehow love one of them, you might have an edge tonight because I honestly don't know where to go. Tennessee's kind of the opposite. You kind of know exactly where they're going to go, but you're still not excited. So it's going to be one of those games we're going to have to try to navigate through and find a little edge. Is Hoop back now?
Yeah, I think the technical difficulties are over. Can you hear me?
I was having nightmares from last week when I was talking to myself for like 5 minutes.
I'm struggling on this end, man. It's been a tough go. From the technical difficulties are sneaking up on us. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, the Colts are just a tough team for fantasy. The Titans, you know what you're going to get, but I mean, along with that comes pretty high price tag. So we'll go ahead and go through the entire player pool here and see what we can find. What sort of game here are you anticipating? Does anything like jump off the page at you right away, right out of the gate?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. So the Colts, one of the things that makes them so difficult is they're so dominant up front, but they just aren't. They're like the weirdest team in football. They're kind of like the Bears of the AFC, where their record's good, but you don't necessarily think they're good, but you don't want to play offense against them. I honestly think the Colts might be the worst showdown team, like just because there's nothing you're excited about. I think it's going to be a good game, though. I do like the Colts in the game just because Tennessee loves to pound the ground game with Henry, obviously. And I think Indianapolis is going to be able to shut that down. We've been kind of right on Henry this year for the most part, too. Last week, I shouldn't say that because last week I liked him and he sucked. But I kind of feel like he's a fade tonight, and I don't think anyone's going to fade him. But, I mean, the Colts are favored by 1 on the road. I don't like Tennessee in this spot. So I'm interested to hear what you think because, for one, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Like, I don't see this turning into a shootout under any circumstances tonight. it just feels like one of those games where they grind the clock a little bit with some dump offs. The total does feel high, though. I will say it. Like, it feels like an under game, but like if I had to guess what this total was going to be coming in, I definitely wouldn't have said 48.5. I would have said 45, 46. I wouldn't have said 48.5. So maybe
I think it's just
points.
I think it's just kind of the nature of the way the NFL, like any game, even games that you kind of project to be low scoring, has the potential to turn into a shootout. I mean, we saw it the other night with the Patriots and the Jets. And no one would ever thought that they scored that many points. And the way it's set up with no fans and stuff, it's just so easy for these offenses to kind of come up with these big plays. So,
how about that the other night? Like, those Jets just gave it to us. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're. I mean, those guys, they look that good for a while.
Yeah, it was it was crazy. I mean, Flacco just dropping dimes, like just dropping it right in there perfectly on so many different occasions. That was a weird outcome, a weird game for sure. So I don't know. I mean, the problem I have with fading Henry is there's just, I mean, where do you go? I mean, the options are just not there. I mean, I don't want to play like freaking Phillip Rivers and the Colts passing game. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I mean, you have Jonathan Taylor, who's expensive, but they're just using so many different guys in the backfield, Wilkins, Hines. It just it's a dirty game, but I mean, the way that DK is set up, it's like I think you almost have to just heavily favor the pass catchers, like over guys like Henry. Like you just have to, even if Henry has a good game, if he gets 100 yards and a touchdown, or 110 and a touchdown, like I don't know, like that's, you can kind of still overcome that. So I mean, I think I'm good, like not being on Henry or being I guess underweight on Henry a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough though. Like you said, I wish I could have a stronger take, but like you said, if we fade Henry, where are we going to go? So I ran these 150 with just the basic rules, 2 pass catchers with the quarterbacks, and just to like show how bad the slate is. Like, so you got 27% Henry captain, 23 Rivers, 23 Tannehill. And then just for utility, you got T.Y. Hilton comes in 79%. T.Y. Hilton is so freaking dusty. Is he really going to be massive? God, this game is rough to me. I just, I almost hate this game more than I hate the Patriots-Jets game.
Patriots-Jets. I mean, that once you start breaking it down, it's just so, I mean, it really is just a tough game. Because like you said, Derrick Henry, clearly the top fantasy option on the slate. If you fade him, you're forced to play a lot of guys that you don't want to play. I mean, you do have some high upside guys on the Titan side. You do have AJ Brown. You do have even your boy Corey Davis, who you're not too fond of. You have Jonnu Smith. Like if you're not playing Henry, you'd be going very heavy on those 4 guys. Tannehill with all 3 of those pass catchers, right?
Yeah, so I kind of like Tennessee a little bit as far as DFS, just because I think the path is easy. Like if we don't like Henry, which sure you could like Henry or not like Henry, I just think the path is super easy to play Tannehill with AJ Brown. I don't love Corey Davis, but this is showdown. Sometimes you gotta get on the wagon a little bit, and if we're gonna fade Henry, you almost have to play Corey Davis. So Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith. The kickers, you want to talk about good plays tonight? I think the kickers tonight are definitely good plays in this game because the offenses move the ball a little bit, decent total, decent kickers. I like the floors of the kick. The kickers have been treating us good too the last couple of weeks. These guys have been solid, so I like them. The defenses, I don't hate tonight. I mean, so then the sneaky guy is this Ferks there. We always talk about him on the showdowns. He's an offensive weapon. I mean, 6 targets last week, 3 for 19. He gets a decent amount of targets every week. And it's just that price tag too that kind of is flexible. 2,200. It just works. I mean, his projection's going to look pretty good no matter where you look. Even Khalif Raymond. I just like the Titans passing game is definitely my favorite path of all the paths, which is another reason to fade Henry for me, because one of the good things about the Titans, I think you almost have to play Henry or the passing game. So if you play Henry, maybe you play all Colts with it. If you fade Henry, then you can play the passing game and whatever you want from the Colts side. So it gives you a clear path. Sure, I mean, Henry is always capable of breaking the slate, but if he gets say he doesn't score tonight, which is definitely possible, there's a good chance he's not in the winner if he doesn't score. I mean, sure, he probably will score. I mean, what is his odds? Do you have him up? What is it? It's usually like minus 180 or something.
Yeah, I'll pull it up as you're going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a good path, the Titans passing game. And it also works for me because I like the Colts in the game. So if I like the Colts, you're not going to get the great Henry game script. You're going to get the Titans passing game. It all just lines up for me to fade Henry. Granted,
yeah, I mean, honestly, so just to talk about his prop real quick, I mean, the touchdown prop, usually a guy in any situation minus 200, minus 250 to score. He's only minus 167 to score. That's very low for Derrick Henry. Like, that is very low for Derrick Henry. But before we hop into that, if you are not a member at Run Pure Sports, head on over there, check out our website. We have promo code Showdown right now at checkout. Gets you 25% off your first payment. Along with all these shows, we do these shows for every single Showdown slate. We have a playbook, core plays for every single Showdown slate. We'll have a Showdown playbook for round 2 of the Masters, which I'm assuming will be very big tomorrow. Those contests tomorrow morning. Yeah, so head on over, Run Pure Sports, get in there before this weekend's NFL content as well. It is crazy, man. Like, with the Masters going around. Last week we did this show for free. We had over 500 people watching it. Today we have 100 people. Like, there's just not interest in this game, and obviously we had the Masters go on. It is crazy. The difference from last week
honestly,
to this week.
Like, so you know me and the people that have watched our shows. Like, I play basically every slate, every sport. I try to, like, I'm depressed about this game tonight. Like, if I've ever missed the Showdown slate, which I'm still gonna play, like, I'm not gonna completely fade it, but tonight would be the night I wouldn't play it, because this game is just it's just ugly. So yeah. First of all, no, the last time Big T faded Henry and went for 200 and a couple touchdowns, not true at all. No, not true, chat. We take losses when we need to take losses. The last time we faded him, it worked out. He scored at the very – what game was that? We faded him.
Was it the Bucs? Did they play the Bucs maybe?
I'm looking at the schedule. I don't remember which one. But, yeah, it was the Pittsburgh game, I think. It couldn't have been Pittsburgh. It had to be before that. He scored a touchdown at the very end to get him to like 15 or something. Yeah. was the number. It could have even been the Denver game where I don't know. One of the games he did not. The only game he's gone for 200 this year was Houston, and we had him in that game. So if you guys said we faded him in that, no, not true. But now the chat's getting our back. Last time fading Henry definitely worked out. Correct. Yeah, the chat's saying it was the Bills game. He ended up doing decent.
The Bills, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we're never going to be results oriented on here, though. Like, he was a good fade, though. Just like Evans was a good fade to one slate for us, even though he scored at the very end. I'm okay with that. There's times when, like the other night, I faded some of these Jets guys. That was a bad fade. They crushed right away. I take the L, but like,
at least in that situation, you knew right away you're dumb. Perriman gets the touchdown. Crowder gets the touchdown. Yeah. You know what? It's over. I mean,
I knew I was dead immediately, and I'll take the L. Like, I was wrong.
You know what? If someone just listened to the show and didn't read the playbook, they would have done all right, because we were on the Jets pass catchers during the show, but kind of.
I didn't think Flacco could be that good, though. I'll take the L for sure, because I didn't dream he would be that good. Those receivers were breaking open. I'll take the L there, but we're not going to take the L when we don't deserve the L. That's not going to happen.
No. Any cheap dudes here? Any bottom barrel guys outside of Ferkser, which I agree is a solid play outside of the kickers. Anyone else down here towards the bottom that you see as being in play?
So I like Khalif Raymond just because he's shown some upside at times. He's got a little speed. He's got some pass catching ability. I'm not going to probably play Foreman. I'm not going to play Swain. McNichols is the interesting one. I think he's going to hit on some optimals just because he's so cheap and he gets a little bit of work, but I don't really want to play McNichols either. I guess it kind of works with a Henry fade, though. If you're fading Henry, maybe McNichols makes sense at 200 just because you could somehow fall into a really good spot on a Henry fade. So I'll probably keep him in the player pool. I like the Tennessee side. Like, I feel good about going the passing game. And basically everyone in the player pool besides Henry. The Colts side's what we got to dive into because, man, I don't know what to do.
The Colts side is it's very difficult because, Jonathan Taylor just is not getting the work anymore, and they're kind of splitting it up. He's a guy early on in the season that looked promising, but you have Wilkins mixed in. Last game Wilkins got 11 rushes and 2 targets. Who's the other dude? Drawing a blank on his name.
Wilkins and Hines.
Hines as well. Hines had, what was it, last week? He had the 2 touchdowns.
It was 2 weeks ago when we talked about it on the wood, I guess, with the Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
And the running backs got 3 touchdowns, and Burton ran in a touchdown too.
Can you play any of these running backs? Like, is it possible?
I think it's just a super easy fade personally. I think maybe one of them gets there, but they're going to share time. They're going to all be owned. Jonathan Taylor projected in the 30s ownership wise. I don't know how you can play that. I honestly don't. Sure, he can score touchdowns, but man, look at his numbers. 10, 5, 15, 15, 8, 13, 19, 14. I guess he gives you a floor, but the dude hasn't done anything.
Some of these sites, he's projected to 8 to 10 fantasy points. 8 to 10. And you're talking about a guy that's close to 9K. I think easiest fade, by far. And if people are going to, his ownership, he said, is projected to be up there.
People just don't have anyone to play. So they're not going to get creative like we are, where you can leave salary tonight. You don't have to spend all the salary.
Well, you're going to probably have to. There's just not the options. That probably puts Phillip Rivers in play by default. I think by default, you're probably going to have to be high on Phillip Rivers, just the way this thing is breaking down. Do I like Phillip Rivers as a fantasy player? Hell no. Do I like him in this game tonight? Hell no. But you just don't have a choice, right?
Especially when we don't like the running backs. It's just, you got to pick a path, like we always say on these shows. You have to pick a path and go with it. I just think we go with the passing games and fade. Hines, you could play Hines because he's not a running back. He could catch out of the backfield. He could do stuff like that. They're not going to hand the ball to Hines. The dude has got 2 carries, 5 carries, 3 carries, and then he had, I don't know if someone might have even been hurt in these games, but he's not going to get carries, so there's no reason to him. But I'm not going to play Wilkins for sure either. There's no reason to play these guys. Indianapolis is super hard, man. I almost think we seriously just play both quarterbacks and 1 or 2 pass catchers with them. Whoever the captain is, you always play 2 with Rivers and Tannehill too, for that matter. Whoever the other one is. So maybe we play whoever the captain is, we play 2 pass catchers. Whoever the other one is, we play 1 or 2 pass catchers. And then the last spot is a kicker, defense, wherever it kind of fills in the blanks.
Yeah. Do any of these pass catchers kind of stand out? It looks like T.Y. Hilton, when he's back, it looks like he's going to have some pretty solid ownership. Pascal, what's his name? You have Pittman, you have Johnson. You have guys here. It seems like they're going to cycle a lot of them in and out. Johnson missed on a deep ball last week. So, he had the opportunity. Do any of these guys stand out as plays?
It's really hard. I think the crazy part is my least favorite of all of them is kind of T.Y. Hilton, which
he's been bad.
Is really weird to say, though, because he's going to have to be high owned tonight. Tonight's another slate. We said it the other night. It's such an ugly slate that be a little different. Don't play T.Y. with Rivers. Everyone that plays Rivers is going to play T.Y. I don't think you have to. The dude has been super dusty.
When grandma calls you out and you still can't get it done, you know you're having a rough go.
And he's had easy matchups too. Jacksonville, he went for 9, Minnesota 5, the Jets, the Bears. Look at his schedule. Seriously, this team has played nobody. you're always about talking about the Bears, how they're overrated for the Colts, I think, are the AFC version of this almost. Their schedule is awful, and he still hasn't done any. His highest fantasy point game all year is 12.9, and that was against Cleveland. I think he's a fade too. I mean, so everyone that's watching is asking, like, who are these guys even playing then? Both quarterbacks, 2 pass catchers from Tennessee, and then kind of fill in the rest is kind of the plan.
It's not going to feel. I mean, it doesn't matter what route you go. It's not going to feel comfortable. But I mean, it's very. Where do they have the ownership for Derrick Henry? It's got to be really high based on just this game in general. I mean, it's got to be high. So.
I mean, 61% just in the in the utility and 27. So you got 88% of the optimals, and he's projected. I mean, it's got to be somewhere in the same range. 62. He's going to be higher than that.
Yeah, and with Henry, like you said, like last game, like he can still score a touchdown and not get there. Like especially on DraftKings with the full PPR, like he can get 100 and a touchdown, not be in the optimal lineup tonight. So I think
they're going to sell out to stop him too. So I keep talking about the Bears. They just played the Bears, who's similar to the Colts. He got 6.8 fantasy points. If he gets that tonight and you fade him at 80% owned, I don't care who else you played. You're in pretty good shape. Yeah. Like it's just, the teams have been shutting him down. The Colts are built to shut him down.
His numbers are, like I said, not great. I mean, minus 167 to score. He's typically 250 in really good matchups, minus 300 to score. So, Vegas is seeing something that they don't love here either. So I think that's the move tonight, to be honest with you.
He's projected 18.88 on here. I mean, I'm sure it's somewhere around there. I would love to bet the under on that. Like, that's a lot of fantasy points for him tonight. I don't think he gets it. Obviously, if he gets 18, he's going to more than likely be in the winner, but I don't think he gets 18. Yeah. I think he gets like 12 if I had to project it again.
Yeah, and then, if you're using an optimizer, we've done it, here on this show, like you just set put him down to 12. He's still showing up in your lineups. That's what happens
fine. if I give it to 14. Let's just see. Yeah. 14 is definitely a fair number. Let's just see. He was 88% at 18. Let's see. Let's see what he pops at. It just gives you a path to victory, though. I think in these showdowns, the most important thing you can do in tournaments is give yourself a path to victory. If he goes out and crushes, you know what? You lose. Move on to the Sunday, the Sunday main slate, the Masters round 2 slate. So let's see. Here we go. At 14, he doesn't hit any captain. And at flex, he hits 6%. So if he gets 14, in theory, if everybody hits their projection tonight and he gets 14, which is a decent number for him, I think. I mean, that's 80 yards and a touchdown. That's not the worst game ever, 14. Yeah. He only hits 6%. So basically you need him to get 16 plus, 17 plus if you're playing him. I'm willing to take a chance on the under with that. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, especially, like I said, with the DK scoring, how it just favors the guys that are catching the passes and whatnot, and volume type players. Like he's not that. Does your strategy change a little bit on FanDuel, where it's more touchdown dependent? Like, will your strategy change on him? Will it change on Jonathan Taylor, where you kind of do need those touchdowns on FanDuel?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely better plays, but at the same time, they're going to be way higher owned too. So it kind of goes not way higher owned because he's going to be 80 on. I'm talking strictly like captain or MVP. Yeah. Like he's going to be way higher in the MVP on FanDuel, obviously. Than I don't know. Like I think they're better plays for sure, just because you don't need the PPR. If he scores a touchdown on FanDuel, I think he'll for sure be in the winner. Yeah. DK, he's not for sure going to be in the winner with a touchdown on DK. So
yeah,
I think Henry's a really good fade tonight. I do, even on FanDuel. I'm going to stick with it just because the Colts are built to stop Henry. I think they'll stack the box and just make the passing game beat it, which goes perfectly with what we need in Showdown.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sure, if he goes and beats us, then I mean we've lost plenty of slates. We'll move on to the next slate.
move on to the next one. Hopefully, it's a more appealing game. What
The
is
next
the
couple are bad. We talked about it. We got a rough stretch for showdowns.
Ravens, Patriots. I mean, at least there's some guys there you can play, and then the Vikings,
The
Bears.
Ravens, Patriots don't have too many dudes.
The two lowest, actually, those are the two lowest totals on the entire slate. The entire week 10 is the Ravens, Patriots, and the Vikings, Bears.
I mean, we're in a tough stretch for sure. And all the momentum shifted on
all
us.
right, here's some hope. Here's the hope. All right, here it is. Next Thursday, Cardinals, Seahawks. Can't ask for a better.
Yeah, now that
can't ask for a better game. That is a showdown slate that we want to be involved in right there. Let's talk FanDuel a little bit more. The one price that kind of stands out quite a bit. Phillip Rivers is only 12.5K on FanDuel, and that is a very friendly price tag for a quarterback. It's kind of weird that they price him so low. Quarterbacks are typically 14K range. He's only 12.5. And it's going to make it easy for the strategy that you're kind of employing here tonight of fading Henry. You'll be able to, play Tannehill. You're going to be able to play Rivers and get a lot of other guys. And obviously, as we always talk about on FanDuel, you want to, keep in the back of your mind that it's good to leave some salary on the table. Does your overall strategy shift at all on FanDuel here?
No, I mean, normally I would say, yeah, kind of like you were saying with man, I forgot what receiver I was trying to put in there, but normally I would say it's different on FanDuel, kind of like you said, where those running backs get more of a boost, but I just don't see it today. I like the passing games way more than the running games, and it just fits. And now you're telling me the prices line up better. I'm trying to figure out which receiver all was Johnny.
We have Corey Davis, AJ Brown is up. AJ Brown is 15,000. He is $500 less than Derrick Henry,
which is perfect, I think.
Yeah, everyone's clicking that Henry name over AJ Brown, and honestly, it is hard to play both those guys. I mean, if you play both those dudes, you're under 10K for the rest of your spot. So I don't see a lot of people playing both. I see a lot of people playing Henry, which your strategy could really come into play here.
God, I always forget. I didn't have you yelling at me about this Tannehill, and the first team that popped up after I didn't put the rule in, Tannehill MVP, was Tannehill captain with Henry. Like, if you're playing FanDuel tonight and you play Tannehill captain with Henry, your only utility from the Titans, like, you might as well literally let your money on fire and just throw it in the freaking fire pit tonight, because that is a terrible build, and it's all because I didn't set my rule right, which you got to put Tannehill MVP in there. Conditional Hoop always gets on me about it. It's the most basic rule ever. 2 pass catchers with both. Now let's run it and see what we come up with, because, man, the rules are just so important. Like, you can't have Derrick Henry with friggin' Tannehill in the MVP. That's just a horrible build. Just after Hoop got done saying it too, where they're 500 difference between AJ Brown and Henry, there's just no reason not to do it. Now we got freaking Henry. So one rule you need to have tonight, I'll clearly say it. I'm planning on fading Henry, but the first team that pops up is Henry MVP with Tannehill in the utility. So we got to come right back in another group that I know for a fact I'm going to make. Tannehill, Tanny, Henry, and just literally max one. I don't think you can play them together. I don't think you can.
Hard to envision an onslaught scenario tonight. They obviously don't correlate together well from a, quarterback pass catcher standpoint. Henry's not going to catch a lot of balls. I mean, the talk coming into the season was he would be more active. I don't think we've really seen it all that much. I just want to, verify that. Yeah. I mean, look, 2 targets, 1 target, 0 targets in his last 3 games. So he's not active.
Built for it. Like, he's not.
Yeah. And they're mixing in those other speedster dudes. They have those other guys that are, pretty good catching out of the backfield, speedster type players.
In cash, you can play them together, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're capturing probably all the offense. I mean, if they get a passing touchdown, you're getting it with Tannehill. If they get a rushing, you're getting it with Henry. I mean, you could definitely pair them together. And it's probably the likely optimal route.
Yeah. The key rule is just this what I got here. You got Tannehill MVP, Tannehill utility, Henry MVP, Henry utility. One of one, min one, max one, because every team you're going to want one of these guys tonight. Unless it's just a total Colts blowout, one of these dudes is going to end up on the winner for sure. So you want one, and then you got the Tannehill captain rule too. So I think now we should be in good shape with this. Actually, we'll see what Henry pops at with the normal projection, and then we'll lower him to our on FanDuel. I mean, I guess his projection is going to be similar on both just because he doesn't catch the ball. So we'll keep him at like that 13, 14 range, but let's see what he's at. Yeah, so like right away, man, Rivers. I just think with these teams, like it's really tough to play Rivers as your only Colts guy. So I think you need to go more into rules tonight where if I'm playing 4 Titans, I don't think there's a scenario where Rivers is my only Colts guy. I just don't see it. You got to put like instead of any of these guys, instead of Ferkser, play a cheap Colts tight end or something. I just can you do that like on FanDuel? What do you think about that? Like, can Rivers ever be your only Colts guy in the tournament?
I don't think so. I mean, not in this situation. I mean, we had talked about it
What
last
would the
game.
path be, I should say? Like, what would the path?
Oh, it's tough because we talked about doing that last game with Cam Newton. Well, there's a path for Cam Newton to be, to have a really good game, and the rest of the Patriots pass catchers did not have so good a game. Like, there's just not that path. Like, if Phillip Rivers has a good game, you're probably going to need one of those, especially the way this game is shaping out. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just you're going to need one of those guys. I think it's not one of those situations. He's not going to run it in at all. So I think you definitely need to pair him with at least one dude.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. And so circle back to rules again. I mean, we can do it, create group again. We already got our Rivers captain, but now we can do Rivers even utility with the same rule, even where I wonder if it lets me copy it. No, it doesn't let me copy it. But so Rivers, you would just do one. Like if I have them in the utility, you're not going to really want a multiple for. I guess you could do 1 to 2, 1 to 2, and this time conditional. We're going Rivers utility in there to where I think you should. Tannehill at least can run a little bit. Like there's at least a path where Tannehill could do it. He definitely has shown rushing upside at times, but Rivers has no rushing upside. So I don't see any path where you don't have. So we go back and let me put a couple of these dudes in there. Rivers. What about the like Hines? Do we put him in our Rivers group or no? We always talk about this, and I go back and forth.
I mean, he has been pretty active. I mean, a guy like him, I mean, he's primarily out there to catch passes. Like he's not going to get many rush attempts. So I think you do in this scenario. I mean, he's not going to get more than 5 carries. So I would say, yeah.
And let's lower. I mean, Henry projected just a big number.
And plus with Rivers, I mean, he's just spreading it out so much. Like he's spreading it so wide with these wide receivers.
Okay, let's see what we got now. I upgraded some rules. Chat saying, what about Marcus Johnson, MVP on DK? Yeah, I mean, absolutely, you can play Marcus Johnson. He had some opportunity last week. Marcus Johnson's the type of guy you play tonight, and maybe you win the whole slate when he catches 2 bombs because that's definitely in play. And tonight's a good night to ship here because you can get different. So now, God, it still has that freaking rule. What did I didn't go back in. So yeah, I always try to rush when we're on the show. Now we got Rivers utility. We got to set the rule to one min, 2 max. Now let's run it. Should be good this time. It's just important because every little detail matters in these builds. And if you forget one little thing, it will mess up your whole overall system. So like when I normally have more time and I'm not on air, I'll go back and double it. So here we go. This is much better. We got Tannehill MVP, Ferkser and AJ Brown. We got Rivers and TY. Again, I like the other receivers probably more than TY, but this is an example of a really good team, I think, where we got everything we need. Next team, Tannehill, Jonnu, Corey Davis, Phillip Rivers to TY. just with these rules now, we're good. Rivers, Burton, Hines, AJ, and Tannehill. I mean, these are the teams we like, right? Like these are correlations we can get behind.
Yeah. The teams make sense. I mean, the way you're talking though, I think you're probably gonna end up getting a little higher on T.Y. Hilton. I think you're gonna have to when it's all
you
said and
almost
done.
have to play him a decent amount.
Yeah.
Honestly, what I'll probably end up doing, because I don't have a strong take. Say I'm playing 20 teams tonight, because I'm definitely not going crazy. So say I'm playing 20 teams. Maybe I just go through all these Colts receivers and just go like 30 men, 30 men, 30 men, 30 men, even the tight ends. Because I like Mo Alley Cox a decent amount tonight too. Not going to play the scrub 30%, but maybe you put 5% for the scrub, 30% for every other pass catcher, and kind of just get a little bit of all of them, because I think this is a good slate to spread it, because we're already fading the running backs, so we don't need to really fade the receivers. I don't love TY, but I mean, if we're already fading the running backs, you don't need to completely fade them all.
Rory with a 4-foot birdie miss, things that you love to see, by the way. I mean, he's just been a disaster.
I couldn't even imagine playing Rory. Like he obviously could always win. He's elite, but man, he just hasn't shown it this year.
Your boy Burnt Langer, 2 under, back-to-back birdies. Isn't that your guy?
Him and Freddie, I like both those guys.
Freddie not so good. Freddie's struggling. Your boy, I think Freddie just tripled for you.
Yeah, triple? What did he do to get a triple?
I don't know. I just saw it pop up.
A triple?
Yeah, he tripled at some point. It was a few holes ago. Not to get sidetracked.
He just made a birdie to get one.
Who did?
Big Fred.
Freddie? You got one back for you. There you go. Kickers on FanDuel in play. I mean, 9K each. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think they're okay. I mean, it's a little harder with the way we're wanting to build, because naturally now on FanDuel, our MVP is more than likely going to be a quarterback, just the way it shapes up. So all of a sudden, if you got a quarterback there and then you play 2 pass catchers with them, you only have 2 spots left. So say you end up with another quarterback, you want a pass catcher there too. So
yeah,
I don't like kickers as much, but say on the run back, you play a receiver or something instead of the quarterback. Like you could play receiver kicker or something over quarterback kicker. And whenever like say Blankenship, this Colts kicker outscores Phillip Rivers, you're going to have a chance to win all the money, because everyone's just going to play Rivers, obviously. Didn't you say he's 12.5 too?
Yeah, 12.5. Yeah.
So he's 3,500 more. I think that's a legitimate path in this tournament too. $9 tonight, I'm sure it is. At least it's what it usually is on FanDuel. If you just build your teams out and then you pivot some of them from Rivers to Blankenship, that alone can get you unique. And maybe that's what ships it. All he has to do is outscore Rivers. It's not that crazy. This is a game where these kickers could kick 5 field goals. It's not out of the realm of possibility at all. So I like kickers. It's harder if you're playing one team tonight, it's really hard to get them in there just the way it shapes up. But they could easily get you unique and ship it. They could be the leading scorer tonight, honestly. They really could.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in the realm of possibilities the way this game is shaping up. Anything else? I mean, it's not an exciting game. Usually we're digging deep. We're, really chatting back and forth about the plays, but this is just, it's just not an exciting one. There's just not many options. And I think you've laid out a pretty clear path as to how people can be different than the field and different sort of plays. It's definitely a slate to leave some money on the table, I think.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it makes a ton of sense. You have upside, you have key fades. It's kind of always what I want. You need to fade some stuff. It gives us basically everything we want. It's a tough path, but a path that I could see happening for sure.
Yeah, and make sure you head on over to Run Pure Sports. Use that promo code Showdown to get 25% off your first payment on the website. We'll have a playbook up pretty soon here after this show with the plays, core plays. We'll have a showdown playbook for round 2 of the Masters tomorrow, which the contest should be pretty big. And then obviously all our NFL content throughout the weekend, cores, plays, rankings, tiers, articles, playbook, a lot of content over there. So make sure to head on over there and check it out. Before you guys get out of here too, if you could like and subscribe that video, that'd be great. The more likes and subscriptions we get, the more likely we can do some of these videos for free. I think that's about it, right? Anything else before we get out?
Yeah, I think check out this Thrive Fantasy tonight too, because we were talking about it. I'll screen share real quick just before.
Yeah, so Thrive just did a complete overhaul of their of their website, and I just pulled up. It's looking tasty, man. It's looking real nice, real sharp. We'll go through. Tony's going to pull it up on the screen share here. And they have some big contests for tomorrow for the Masters. We're going to kind of go through and talk about those. The start time of that contest, I think, will most likely change. I don't think they're going to get round 2 going right away. I'm assuming most of these guys aren't going to be able to finish today. I haven't looked at it closely, but I don't think they're going to be able to finish. Probably only
they're not all done with the front 9. There's no way they're finished.
Yeah, so probably another hour or so of play, and then they're going to have to come back out. But let's pull up that golf contest for tomorrow and kind of go talk through it. If you haven't been on Thrive Fantasy, it's just a unique way to kind of combine fantasy with props. You get points based on what the guys do based on their props. So like tomorrow, the first guy in this contest, we have Bryson, and just total strokes set at 69.5. Man, this is going to start it because he played like shit today, and he still finished 2 under. Like, I think he comes out and has a huge day tomorrow. Like, I really like him tomorrow. Like, honestly, I watched just about his entire round. He played about as bad as he could have played. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he was terrible, and he was in the woods every hole. Like every hole, I felt like his second shot, he had trees in front of him. Yeah. He would have to like get up and down to save par, a bunch of them. He was 69.5 is a bad line. Like, I would feel very, very confident. Like, this is an underdog too, supposedly, according to them. I mean, if I could get a plus number, he said his own par is 60. Everybody's making fun of him about this. He said it's a par 67 for him here.
Yeah.
I think it is. I honestly do. Like, he played horrible today. I think he should shoot 67 most times here or better. He's got a low round in him too, like 69.5. He shot 70 today. He was awful. So yeah, that feels like a free square.
Yeah, and one other thing, if you haven't signed up on Thrive, if you use the code RUNPEER at checkout, they will match your first deposit up to $50. So, we used to see a lot of these promos throughout the industry like years ago. You don't see it very often. Any chance you get to, take advantage of some free money from the sites, you need to be looking to do that. $50 match on your first deposit if you use the code RUNPEER. Anything else stand out here? I mean, the next one is Jordan Spieth.
So Eagles. I hate Spieth as much as anyone, but like, there's 4 par 5s, 150 for the over. He's only got to make 1 eagle, and we get 3-1 odds. You wouldn't book that right now. You wouldn't give me 3-1 odds if he makes an eagle.
No chance.
Like, there's 4 par 5s. I mean, that feels like, and it's a tournament again. So just those of you that don't know about Thrive Fantasy, like, this is a $25 tournament, $5,000 prize pool, and there's 222 people in it. So it's just like DFS. If you haven't played it, you got to get to the top of the leaderboard. If Spieth makes an eagle and you lock in this 150 to go with Bryson's 110, you're sitting good out of the gate. Well, I mean, we'll see what else they got down here, but I don't mind that at 150. And I don't even like Spieth, so that says a lot. Yeah. I hate Spieth.
Justin Thomas, 3.5 birdies. I mean, I don't see how you could take the under on that the way this course is playing. I mean, I'm sure they're going to make it a little more difficult tomorrow, but that seems like a low number the way these guys are scoring right now.
So I think you can get an advantage on all these at this course because, the scoring is different here. Like, there's 4 par 5s that all are scoreable. There is some hard par 4s and 3s, but that doesn't impact the birdie number. They still have birdie opportunities. They'll have bogey opportunities too. but there's tons of birdie opportunities. Yeah, I mean, the bad part is it's only 80, so I don't know. I don't know how much I like it, but definitely I would like the over though.
Like the Tiger Woods par, 11 and a half total pars. I don't know.
Pars are hard.
I never know on the pars.
Yeah.
I literally have no idea.
Because he could shoot. So this obviously doesn't count birdies in there, right? Obviously.
I don't think. I think it's just legit pars.
I mean, pars are better. Like, so you're telling me if Tiger gets 10 birdies tomorrow, shoots 62, we would somehow lose because birdies are better.
I don't like that one.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Bogeys. This is an interesting one because we get 110. Like I said, this course has birdies. It also has bogeys. 2.5. That's an interesting over for Jason Day. I could see him making 3 bogeys.
Yeah. Very, very possible.
Keep working our way down. This is what's fun about it, though. You get just some different things that other sites don't have.
The Matt Kuchar, 4.5 total eagles and birdies. Like, to me, that's weird because we're just talking about Justin Thomas, who's obviously much better. His number is 3.5, and Kuchar, it's 4.5 with eagles and birdies. It's just that number seems weird to me. I don't know the 4.5 number.
And here's the one we were just talking about too with Ricky, pars plus bogeys. Thank you for at least putting bogeys in or birdies, because that changes things. Then all of a sudden you're saying, so what's that giving him? That's giving him 5.5. So that's giving him 5.5 birdies or eagles, right? So one more than Kuchar, correct? Or am I adding it wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
So 5.5 is a big number, right? Oh yeah, because the over is only 75. So, I mean, the chances of him making more than that, I mean, the over feels like a lock. He's not going to make 6. I mean, more than likely, he would have to shoot 64 to beat that.
Yeah.
Or 66, I guess. 66.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then the Brooks number, 67.5.
Why is his number 2 better than Bryson?
Yeah, that's weird. That's definitely, that doesn't make too much sense. But
I like the 130 though. I'm a sucker for these GPP.
Yeah, that's a top. I mean, he's got to shoot 5 or 6. I mean,
that's 5 under, right? He can shoot 5. Tons of guys shot 5 under today.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, you're getting, I guess, 2 to 1. I mean, 2 to 1 on it.
Yeah, it's a tournament. Let's put it in there.
And then Rory, 5.5 total birdies. The over is we were just making fun of him.
I mean, that's 6 birdies. That's a lot of birdies.
Yeah, basically 3 on each side. But I mean, if he's playing from behind, he's going to be going for the hole tomorrow. I mean, he's 1 over right now. I mean, he might have to push a little bit. I don't know. And then Patrick.
The thing I hate about it is this: like we got basically the same thing here. We need him to shoot. We need Brooks to shoot 67. We need Rory 5. And it's basically the same thing, except birdies feels harder to me because the Eagles aren't going to be in that total, right? Correct. So I always get confused about these. If he gets an eagle, it's not going to count as a birdie. At least I don't think.
No, it's just going to be no. It would not. Eagles would be separate.
The Koepka one should be theoretically and Koepka I think is a little better than Rory.
It should that should be structured just like under par on a hole, under par, But
and maybe it is. I mean, we couldn't necessarily be wrong. I get confused with it. So
another one, the last one's Patrick Reed total strokes. I freaking hate Patrick Reed, but I mean the way things are going right now, like. I mean, I'd definitely take the under 71.5. I mean, this course just
all he's got to do is shoot 1 under and you win.
Under. Yeah,
I don't understand. That feels like a freebie.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in the under. Like I said, the way this course is playing right now.
Look at these prizes too for $25 on here. If you haven't, like Hoop said, run pure at checkout. Right, is the code up to $50. So put $50 in, get a free 50, and then get in here and play this. This thing usually overlays too. I mean, there's good prizes in here. This is how you build your bankroll up a little bit. Get in there put 50. All of a sudden, you got a free 50, so you got 100. Put an entry in this, finish in the top 3. You got another 500. All of a sudden, you're building it up real easy on here, and you have some fun. Some of these wagers will give you a fun sweat to kind of go along with your DFS on other sites.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, just it's a different sweat, different feeling, different research process. I mean, if you're playing DFS, you're already looking at most of the stuff. So, you head on over here and you get something a little bit different than just the standard, DFS fantasy point type stuff. But yeah, the promo code is RunPure at checkout. They'll match your first $50 that you deposit onto the site. Anything else before we get on out of here?
No, looking forward to some more golf this weekend. Who knows?
Yep.
Maybe this could be a game tonight in football where we get a little bink where we're not expecting it. Get a little sneaky bink tonight.
Yeah, a little backdoor bank action. That's always fun, right?
Always good. Always good to get in the back door.
Cool. So for Big T, I'm Hoop. Good luck to everyone tonight in your contest. We'll be back for the Sunday night game. These next two are going to be tough, man. We're gonna grind through them though. We got to get to that Thursday next week when we get the Cardinals Seahawks. But these next few are going to be a little bit difficult. But you never know. Like you said, get a little surprise bank action. It's always
good thing about Showdown. Sometimes the ugly ones, you still got those big prize pools. So nothing wrong with taking some stabs.
Absolutely. All right. Good luck to everyone tonight and stack up those giblets. We'll be back.